Okay, coach, and I got one for you. Hey, how important is the weak side help just overall, right, in when transition and getting the weak side to get players in the box, right? Because that's going to be important. You want more players in the box. How important is that? Is that making sense?
Yeah, I get where you're going. I mean, look, our whole preseason has been about scoring more goals. I think I told you guys this the last press conference. There's a mathematical part to this equation. You know, if you have more numbers in the box, your chances of scoring goals are going to get higher. Now, that's not to say a one-on-one breakaway like Jordan does, or you get in and, you know, there's certain plays where that might not always be the case. You can't always get 4 or, you know, 3 guys in the box, but we're going to try.
And then, what have you seen so far from just the team? You're halfway through, right? You got 2 more games left.
Yep.
Just in terms of, you know,
It's a very committed.
Yeah.
It's a very committed group, and when I use the word committed, they are committed to each other. That's the group. The locker room is really, really tight. I think the 2 new additions, some of the young guys, I think that's been great to see. But committed to, you know, improvement, because I think the sting of last year hasn't worn off. I mean, we were close in multiple conversations or in multiple competitions, and you know, we couldn't push through. I think I sense a renewed commitment to, you know, win something this upcoming year.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Hi, Brian. It's good to see you. Wanted to ask a little bit. Steph had mentioned just being utilized just slightly different when you have 3 center backs. I wanted to kind of get your perspective on that, on him, you know, being able to help balance, I guess, a little bit of the background.
It's good to talk to you, Jada. Thanks for jumping on. If you're talking about in the build-up play, is that where he went with that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's different. It's different when you have 3 players and one guy is kind of in line with Steph, so he has to take up a different position. Yes, that's part of, you know, the evolution and playing with 3 center backs. Certainly when we commit to playing with 3 center backs, because remember, we played with 4 defenders last year, but when we got higher up the field, we would build in 3-2. So, you know, by that time, Steph was kind of already behind the play a little bit. But yes, this year, as we start off with goal kicks and, you know, certain patterns of play, I would call it, when he catches a cross or makes a save, there's some nuances there. But again, I think for a guy like Steph, I think it's great. He can still learn some things, and it's always exciting for those guys to have something new to work on.
And then Craig earlier today had said in an interview that, you know, the metrics are off the charts. I wanted to, like, in a casual kind of term, or, you know, what are those? What are those metrics of the players that you're seeing that might be a little bit better maybe than past preseasons? Or
Metrics, I didn't hear it, Jada, I apologize. I didn't listen to his, maybe I should apologize to Craig, but I don't know if he was talking about physical metrics or metrics of, you know, some of the data we compile over, you know, passes completed and where the passes go to and some of those things. I'm not sure what he said, but overall, are we pleased with both the physical component and also some of the new tactics that we're working on? Yes, I would say yes.
Jeremiah, go ahead.
Yeah, a little bit of a fitness question. Reed looked like he came out early of the last game. If you could just give an update on him. And then I thought you said that you were expecting Paul to play the last game, and he didn't. So if you could give an update on his health as well.
So Paul's scheduled for 30 minutes, and unfortunately, I will break the news to you guys here. Reed did injure his right hamstring. I believe I'm saying that correctly. It's not the hamstring he did previously. It's a different injury, a little bit higher up in the hamstring, and I will give you a further diagnosis when we get him home to do MRIs, and our docs look him over, but he did pull his hamstring.
And so is that like a potential, like months-long thing, or is it you just have no idea how serious?
Jeremiah, the kid felt it pop, so I don't want to give you false information. Let us get some more facts, and then we'll let you know, but it's certainly not, it's not something where he's going to play here in the next couple of weeks for sure.
Jackson Phelps, go ahead.
Thanks.
Brian, really quickly, just to piggyback off that, with that injury, what have you seen with Cody Baker so far this preseason, coming off of the surgery last year, and where can he help defensively with slightly new schemes as well?
Well, Cody, look, he's a talented kid. He's played on the left for a few games last year for New Who. He can play on the right. He's a versatile kid. But we're gonna need everybody. We've got a pile of games. I think Craig told me it was 10 games in 40 days or something like that. But we're gonna need everybody. Cody fits in because he works hard. I can tell you today, he was arguably the best player in training. But we love the kid. I mean, he's been great for us. The problem is just, what is his exact position? Because he doesn't have the skill set of, the technical ability of Alex, but, or Paul Areola. But if you need a lockdown guy late in the game, he's one of the candidates.
And then switching to the other side of the ball, on the offensive end, what have you seen and what have you liked from the offensive movement so far the preseason, this last game? Is the attack kind of moving the way you wanted it to this preseason?
5-2, Jackson. 5-2. I don't want to paint the devil on the wall and then we stink it up tomorrow, but 5-2. So last year we created a lot of chances in preseason, but the score lines were different. So happy with the way things are going. But look, I want to remind everybody, keeping expectations, and seriously, it's always harder in our sport to create things than it is to destroy things. So, this will be a work in progress, but I'm, I'm happy that multiple players have scored goals, and, Pedro certainly has been good this year, and Jordan's doing his thing, and Jesus is good, and, everybody's pitching in, and I think that's kind of when I envision the team and stuff like that. If, Jordan can repeat what he did, 16, 18 goals, and Jesus has scored 22, so maybe he's 16, 18, 20. Albert did 10, then, Christian bangs a couple, Yaimar, Jackson, and, everybody contributes. Paul Areola, Paul, Rothrock. Pretty soon we'll have a pretty good, hopefully, fingers crossed, attacking group.
Nico Moreno.
Thank you. Coach, in terms of kind of what you've been saying, and considering that injury to Reed, how comfortable are you with the depth at wing backs, at that group of specific, players that can play that position when it comes to what you're trying out with a three-man formation in the back?
We've got plenty. You've got Paul Areola, Paul Rothrock, Reed, Travian Sosa, Alex Roldan, Cody Baker. In a pinch, you could put Christian back there. We've got a ton of wingbacks. Georgie, in games where we're at home and we want to really press and it looks more like 3-4-3. I mean, we've got plenty of options there.
Has Kalani made
you know what? Okay. Thank you for that reminder. Because yes, I didn't put Kalani on the list. Maybe because I was looking at signed players, but he's made an impact for sure. A real impact.
Perfect. And I think one of the biggest storylines going into this season is going to be the chemistry between Ferreira and Jordan Morris. Now that you've been able to see in person within the group, Jesus Ferreira's play, how do you feel like that's going to move forward going into the season? How Jordan and Jesus can play with each other?
It's not just those two. It's going to be Jordan and Pedro because they didn't play a lot together. It's going to be Jesus and Albert. It's going to be, Pedro and Jesus. There's going to be some rotation because we're going to need to. We got a ton of games at the beginning of the year. Right now, Jesus fits with everybody, and that's a compliment.
All right, we have time for a couple more follow-ups, so please, one question each. Margarita and Jay Maz, why don't you go first? Oh,
Brian, Brian, what would you say, does this team now have that attacking mindset that you need?
Well, we've always had the attacking mindset. We just haven't put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, I don't think any coach in this league, myself included, wants to, just pack it in the back all the time and, play boring soccer. We do have to entertain our fans. We'd like to do that every game. We understand that doesn't always happen. But we've always had an attacking mindset. We're going to continue to work on our attacking. We're going to try and even get better. Because I think in years past, what I've learned is, teams start to figure each other out halfway through the year and what's the next layer or next sequence that you can do to unbalance your opponent, even though they've scouted you and they kind of get a feel for how you play. So we're working on a lot of things to try and keep it good all year.
Thanks.
all right, Jada, why don't you close us out?
Thanks. Excuse me. I wanted to ask as far as lineups go tomorrow, and who is available for 90 minutes. I mean, are you meshing kind of to see still who works together, or are you trying to put more of what you would really like to see as far as starting lineups go for the future?
Again, Jada, I can answer that a little bit more detail because it's preseason. There's going to be a rotation with those four guys up front with Jordan, Jesus, Pedro, and Albert throughout some of these early games. So Jesus is going to get a run out. Georgie's going to come into that first group because I want to see what impact he can make within the first group. There will be some, settling because there's only 2 preseason games left, and what is the first group they're going to roll out against Antigua? What is the home match against Charlotte going to look like? We're starting to try to take that into consideration, Jada, and you'll see when the lineups go out tomorrow, there'll be a few changes from what you saw the first couple games.